Bonafide Hustler here, and today I'm going to teach you just a little bit more about a really profitable niche. What's going on, guys and gals? Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, coming to you live from the inside of my garage, and surprisingly, I'm about to go thrifting. But before I go thrifting, I'm going to film this video so I can teach you a couple things. Then I'll probably make another video regarding the thrift haul. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Find me on Instagram at the Bonafide Hustler. Get the free guide. It's the first link down below. It'll put you on a special list to get a great deal on a brand new guide coming out on Monday, all right, next week. And it has to deal with the niche that I'm talking about today. So what is that? Of course, the niche is RC. And if you looked at one of my previous videos, which I will link down below, you should see that one before you watch this one. If you don't know what the difference between consumer grade or toy grade RC is versus hobby grade. So in this video, I'm going to teach you kind of like what I look for when I'm dealing with a hobby grade RC. Got one down here, and I kind of assess it, like, what am I looking at? And, is it profitable? That kind of stuff. What's going on through my head before I make a purchase? So let's get right to the content. Here we go. Got my own personal RC right here. This is a Traxxas Slash, and Traxxas is a very good brand. Now, the cover's been pulled off, all right? And this is the inner workings of a hobby grade RC. So you should definitely watch that previous video to see the difference between hobby grade and consumer grade. All right, so hobby grade RC is very, very technical. It's got a lot of moving parts, right? Everything is geared to perform and go really fast. This truck, surprisingly, with the right kind of battery, can go close to 65, 70 miles an hour. So it is a truck. It might not look like one right now, but it is one. They're extremely resilient to a lot of things too. So when you jump them, you can see that this one's been through hell and back. But yeah, when you jump them, when you do whatever, they roll over. They pretty much withstand a lot of things. But, a lot of people that buy these end up doing a lot of jumping and bashing and stuff like that. And so when you come across one of these things at a garage sale or maybe a thrift store, it's important to look over certain things before you make the listing on eBay or your local avenues. And I'm going to talk to you in this video about where I would look the most to see if this thing's a profitable pickup. To be clear, when you find a Traxxas vehicle at a garage sale, it might be marked up a little bit because it could be a hobbyist that's selling it. But if you find it at a thrift store, it's likely going to be a pretty decent deal regardless. So I have found actually a Traxxas Slash at a thrift store before, and it was like 20 bucks and it needed an A-arm. So what is an A-arm? Let's take a look. Underneath here, this is an A-arm right here. This is one of the leading pieces that'll break because as this thing somersaults or goes end over end, these things take a pretty big beating. So you want to check the A-arm from right here all the way to right about here. Where they break is right around here and right around here. Now, the A-arm is attached to what's called a axle hub carrier. So you can see the axle right here. Don't know if I'll try to get you an axle. There you go. Here's an axle right here. So there's the axle, and it's carried by a carrier back here. Okay, it's another piece, and that breaks often as well. So you want to check out the axle hub carrier. So let's take a look down here, and you can kind of see the hub carrier back here. All right, it's right around this one area. So that's something you want to check out for sure. You also want to check out the steering servo, and I'll say it on this one because see the steering servo right here? It has an arm that's connected to the actual steering part of the actual RC, but you can see that this one's snapped. So I need to actually repair this. I have the part, but I haven't repaired it yet. So something you definitely want to check out if you're at a garage sale or a thrift store, twist the tires and see if there's any kind of resistance, because if there was resistance, that would mean this arm is actually attached to that servo, which is the part of the RC, right, that makes the thing turn. But this one's not turning because it is snapped right here. So definitely a place you want to check out for damage right there. Outside of that, there'll be other places for damage like shock towers, which will be right here. All right, so it's a tower that comes out of the vehicle. There's a front one and a rear one. And that shock tower takes a lot of abuse too. So definitely check the shock towers. Check out the bumpers, right? This bumper looks pretty intact, but the side bumpers on a Traxxas Slash, for example, get pretty worked up. Here's one that needs to be replaced. Now, the real question becomes, do you need to replace anything? Because hobby grade RC is inherently very profitable stuff. And quite honestly, I could sell this as is right now for around 200 bucks. The crazy part is I picked this up for 200 bucks about 3 years ago, and I've used it a lot. So there's a lot of money in hobby grade RC, And if you fix it up, this thing will probably be worth about $250, maybe $300 in this condition, which is pretty beat up. And that's okay. It's my personal RC. Another thing you want to check out when you're looking at an RC, and you'll learn this in the guide, is that if you take a look at the ESC, which is the electronic speed control, and how it has the wires that go to the motor, right? If you see 3 wires coming out of the ESC, 3 primary wires going to the motor, this is a brushless setup RC. This is the fast stuff, basically. And it needs a very particular kind of battery to go super fast. So if you see one with just 2 wires, all right, like a red usually and a black, going to a motor, then that would be a brushed setup. And those don't go as fast. Those motors have to be replaced a little bit more often. And you could basically think they go about half the speed. When you deal with vintage or retro RC, you'll see a lot of brushed motors, okay? Hardly any brushless. But in the past 10 years, brushless motors are found in RC vehicles that are usually $300 and up to purchase. So if you find that 3 wires come from the ESC, electronic speed control, to the motor, you're dealing with something that's a little bit more high grade than normal, and that's something that you should do a little bit more research on. The guide will explain all kinds of stuff to you. Yeah, you want to look at a truck like this when you find it at a garage sale for sure. It might look like a buggy, it might look like, you know, a monster truck or something like that, but remember the A-arms, remember taking a look at all the little axle hub carriers and that kind of stuff. Remember, look at the bumpers, okay? Look at all that kind of stuff. Just check out for overall damage. And if you don't find very much, and make sure you also check that servo, by the way, you know, but if you don't find very much, likely when you find it at a garage sale especially, you'll find the battery charger, the battery, and the remote control. You could actually test that thing out pretty quick and throw it on eBay for a serious profit, more than likely. All right, so I hope you learned something in this video, and we'll definitely learn a little bit more this week about RC stuff. And the new guide is chocked full of information. I think as of yesterday, which I put the final edit down on a PDF, it was like 135 slides. It's actually technically like almost close to 150, but you know, some of those are filler slides. So 135 actual content slides in there, which is crazy. It's a lot of info, and it's a really profitable niche. And the funny thing is, as I was wrapping up the first edit, right, I found something at a Goodwill, put it on an Instagram story. I think I paid $6.48 for it and sold it within, you know, a couple days for $80. It was an RC thing, untested, no remote. I mean, it was that easy. So the profit I made from that, I mean, it's crazy if you think about it. So I want to make sure that when you go through a toy section, specifically at a thrift store, or if you're going through a garage sale and you see a box that looks like it has a radio controlled thing in it, through the guide, I want to make sure that anyone that's in those circumstances can tell within 10 seconds whether it's profitable or not. And then from there, you can, you know, assess how much money you'll basically make, or if you won't make any money at all. So that's really important, and that's what the guide is going to allude to. It's going to really uncover this entire niche for you, which is super awesome. It's a lot of fun too. If you got kiddos and all that kind of stuff, it's great to have these kind of vehicles laying around. You can play with them, and you can sell them for profit later. I hope you enjoyed this information, and I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy. Goodbye.